that again. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see everybody out tonight, especially on this kind of rainy night. This is awesome. It's almost a full house, if I can see out there. But on behalf of the Kishwaukee Bible Church, I want to welcome you here tonight to a very special reenactment of John Bunyan's The Pilgrims Progress. In 1660, a man named John Bunyan was arrested and thrown into jail for 12 years. What for? For preaching the gospel, the good news that Jesus Christ died on a cross for the sins of the world, so that humans like you and me could be forgiven and we could be reunited to our Creator forever. But you know, it's very ironic that behind those bars that were meant to stop that message was where John Bunyan picked up a quill pen and paper and wrote down the beginning of the story that you're about to hear tonight in 2023, almost 400 years later, proving the point that God's message cannot be chained. So it's without further ado, I present to you tonight Kishwaukee Bible Church's rendition of The Pilgrims Progress.
Lived in a great city called Destruction. Its streets were full of boys and girls who laughed and played all day long. This was in the summertime when the sun was shining and the city looked bright and pleasant. On the rainy days in winter, the children did not feel so happy, and they would sometimes be glad to sit down quietly and listen to stories. Now and then, a grave-looking man or a woman with a gentle face would come to the city for a little time, and these strangers always tried to make friends with the children and were willing to tell them stories whenever they would listen. There is a beautiful country, they would say, far away from this city. A very good and wise king rules over it, who loves the little children dearly. The prince to whom your city belongs is wicked and cruel and hates our good king. But one day an army will come from the king's country to fight against your prince, and this city will be burned and all the people in it will perish. Then the children asked, what will become of us? And the strangers always answered, you must leave this city now while you are young and strong and travel to the king's country. In the celestial city where he lives, you will be quite safe.
Well, shall we go to the celestial city? That book was written hundreds of years ago. It is of no use to us. Yeah. Why don't you go play make-believe somewhere else? Let the children come to me. Oh, how I wish the king were here right now. Maybe he would take me on this journey so I wouldn't have to go alone. I must see the good king. I have this burden on my back and it is so heavy I cannot even play. I think you must be ill. I do not see any burden on my back. You cannot see it, but I can feel it, and it shall weigh me down until I can see the good king. What are you crying for? The stories are true, you know. The king loves the little children. If you will obey him and begin your journey now, he will watch over you the entire way. And when you reach the celestial city, you will be happy forever. I will go if I only knew the way. See that gate at the edge of the plain? That is the way to the celestial city. Do not cry in work, but Oh, wait. Up. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. That is the King's promise to all his little pilgrims. Do not cry anymore, but go quickly to the gate and knock. One of the King's servants will open it and tell you where to go next. Safer than our city.
I think you know anything about it. That is just nonsense.
It's not nonsense. My good book tells me about it.
That is just a bunch of rubbish. Now, are you coming back or not?
No, I am going to see the king.
You may go then. Come along, Pliable. Christian doesn't understand how good he has.
What if Christian is right? I think I should go with him. Oh, do come with me. We will be so happy to see the king. Do you think we will really find the city?
Wait, you mean to tell me that you are going with him? Really, Pliable, I expect this much from Christian, but you ought to have more sense.
I've made up my mind.
Goodbye then. Better to get rid of both of you.
What sort of place is this celestial city? Oh, it's very beautiful. Have you not heard the strangers talk about it? Will they let us in? The king lives there and his people are never sad or tired. Will they let us in? Oh, yes, I will. Evangelist told me so. See, he gave me this. I don't have one of those. That's okay. I'm sure the king will be happy to see you. Oh no, where are we? I don't know. See what mess we are in? This is all your fault. I wish I had not come. When I get out of this horrible marsh, I'll go straight home and you can look for the city by yourself. But I will see the king. Help!
Hey, let me help you. Didn't you see the stepping stone?
No, I guess I didn't. I was busy talking with Pliable, but she ran back to the city of destruction. You are very kind to help me. I don't know. I am afraid the journey will be too hard for me. Maybe I should wait until I'm older. Are you sure? I am such a little boy, and the others say I'm stupid. How long will it take me to get there?
Are you from the city of destruction?
Yes, and I wish to go see the king.
It's getting late. You stay here tonight and tomorrow I'll show you the way to the celestial city. Good morning, young pilgrim. Come with me and I'll show you the way to the celestial city. You will follow this narrow path through the middle of the plains.
Are there any turnings? How will I know if there are two roads to take?
The king's path is always straight, while all the paths that lead from it are crooked. And the wrong paths are generally wide, while the right path is narrow.
Is there any chance you can unfasten my burden for me? I could walk so much better without it.
I cannot do that. You must carry it patiently until you come to the cross, and then it'll fall off and you'll never see it again.
I will be so glad when that happens.
Well, you best be on your way now.
Presently, he came to a place where there was a little hill by the side of the road. And upon the hill, he saw the very thing for which he was longing. There stood the cross. And the moment little Christian began to climb the path that led to it, he felt the bands that fastened his burden were breaking. Then the burden fell from his shoulders.
Thee. You often displease the king. We have come to tell you that he has forgiven you.
The suit you are wearing is torn and soiled. The king wishes his pilgrims to wear clothes that are clean and neat, so I brought you some new ones.
The king's seal. And you will need this scroll when you go to the gate.
No. It's time.
If I still had my burden. Whew, I need a rest. Run! Wait, stop! Where are you going?
We're dangerously fine, so we're going home.
Yeah, the 2 great lines just on the way. We don't know if there's people. If we try to pass us, we'll surely be.
What shall I do?
Come back with us.
I don't know. If I come back with you, I shall never see the king.
Well, you shall never see him if you go any farther, for the lions will surely kill you.
I do not think so. The lions may not be awake. Let us all go together.
Absolutely not. We will go home where it is safe.
Are they chained? I cannot see. It's so dark. Do not be frightened. The lions are both chained. Keep in the middle of the path and they will not hurt you. What palace is this? This is the palace beautiful. The king made it for his pilgrims to use. Are you going to the celestial city? Yes. May I stay for the night? Of course you may. Discretion and her daughters will help you get settled. Come along.
Christian stayed 3 days in the palace beautiful. He heard many stories about the king and enjoyed the pleasant company of Discretion and her daughters. They enjoyed listening to him recount all the adventures of his journey to the present moment. The morning of his departure arrived, but before they sent him off, they took him to the royal armory, where he received his armor, courtesy of the king.
You must be prepared.
Between the palace and the celestial city, the king's enemies are often very troublesome, and even the littlest pilgrim must carry weapons. You must keep your armor bright and shiny and take good care of it. faithful soldier and servant all the days of your life. You must thank the king, for it is he who has given you all these things.
Christian saw a very evil-looking man coming along the path to meet him. The man was tall and strong, and his face was not a pleasant one. As he drew near, Christian remembered his name, for he had seen him before. He was one of the chief officers in the army of the wicked prince, and he was called Self. At first, he thought he would run and turn around and run towards the foot of the hill. Discretion or watchful might see him and send someone to help. But then he remembered that he had no armor on his back, and that his breastplate and shield would be of no use to him unless he faced his enemy. So he determined to trust in the king and go straight on.
I should like to know where you have come from.
From the city of destruction.
And where was it you were going?
To the city of the king.
Perhaps you have forgotten. The city of destruction belongs to me. If you weren't a little boy who could be taken back again, I should kill you for leaving without my permission.
I know the city of destruction belongs to you, but the king loves me better than you do, and I would rather live with him.
Don't be foolish. I can be very kind to people when I like them. Now, if you'll promise to come back with me and never run away again, you can live in my home, be one of my servants.
I am one of the king's servants.
That doesn't matter. The king's servants often run away. And besides, you were my servant first when you were at home, and you ought to be very thankful I'm willing to take you back again.
I love the king and would rather be his servant. Please let me go on.
I hate your king and everyone and everything that belongs to him. You are my servant. You will never go to the celestial city, for I will kill you!
so suddenly that I did not know until you were gone.
I would have waited for you if I knew you were going to leave the city of destruction too.
I spoke with Evangelist, and he convinced me to leave.
Well, I'm glad I caught up with you. Did you not fall into the slough?
No, but I met a girl named Pleasure. She was a servant of the wicked prince, and she tried to make me go back with her. I was afraid that she would make me, for she was tall and strong, but I would not listen to what she said. And at last she told me I was a stupid boy and not worth speaking to.
Oh wow, did you meet anyone else?
Not for a while. When I came to the Hill of Difficulty, I met an old man. He's very kind and pleasant. He almost persuaded me to go back with him.
Oh, he would have taken you to the wicked prince.
Yes, I'm sure he would have. I was just about to go back with him when I looked up and saw him smiling to himself. I came to my senses and decided not to go with him. He was very angry and said he would send someone to hurt me.
Oh, did he send someone?
Yes, just when I was passing that little arbor, I heard someone coming quickly behind me. It was one of the king's servants, and his name was Justice. I was afraid that it would have killed me with his rod. But a man came by with a gentle face and told Justice not to strike me anymore. At first I did not know who it was, but just when he was going up the hill, I saw the marks upon his feet, and I know it must have been the good prince himself.
I have heard of Justice, but the prince does not let him punish the pilgrims too much.
Oh, Christian, look who it is! It's Evangelist!
The king has been very good to you. You have met with some enemies and troubles, but the king has helped you, and he will help you still if you will trust in him.
Will you tell us more about the road? Will it be easier now or still some tough roads to take?
I have come to meet you here because very soon you will reach the gates of a great city that belongs to the wicked prince. It is a beautiful city full of all kinds of pleasant things and many pilgrims. When they enter it, are tempted to stay there instead of going on their journey. I do not wish you to be so foolish, so I've come to warn you about it.
Why must we pass through it?
The wicked prince ordered it to be built on both sides of the king's way so that pilgrims cannot possibly get to the celestial city without passing through the very middle of it.
What shall we do then?
You shall walk quietly along the streets. Do not stop to look at the beautiful things in the shops and in the market. And do not stop to look at the beautiful do not let the children persuade you to play with them. Sometimes the pilgrims are not much troubled by the townspeople, but are sometimes treated very cruelly.
Will they kill us, do you think?
They may put you in prison, and they have often been wicked enough to kill people who would not serve their prince. But do not be afraid. If you have to die there, the king will send his angels, and they will carry you at once to the celestial city, and you will have no more trouble or pain forever. Oh, I must be on my way, but remember my words, young pilgrims.
Are you afraid?
Not very much. The king will protect us. And you have your good armor.
Yes, and I do wish you had stayed at the Palace Beautiful. Then you would have good armor like mine too.
Never mind. I will stay close to you. And if they do kill me, there will be no more enemies to fight.
You're free to use the bathrooms when the lights come up. There's bathrooms outside both of those back doors, but don't take too long because you gotta be back here. We're gonna start again in 10 minutes, okay?
I know, pretty cool, aren't they? I don't know, I hear the
No, we sit next to you.
The wicked prince hated the good king who ruled over the celestial city, and it made him very angry to see the pilgrims on their way from his country to that of the king. He had built this city, which was called Vanity Fair, just beyond the dark valley and the wilderness, because he knew that when the pilgrims reached its gates, they would be feeling tired and faint, and he hoped that it would then be easy to persuade them to stay there instead of going farther on the way of the king. So he filled the great city with everything that was pleasant and beautiful. It had broad streets and handsome houses, and the stalls in its market were covered with glittering wares. All day long the people were passing busily up and down. They wore fine clothes and spent their whole time pleasing themselves. And the wicked prince took care to give them plenty of things to enjoy, so that they might never have a moment to spare in which to think of the king whom they had forsaken. After they live in Vanity Fair for a short time, most of the pilgrims forget the king altogether. And when they see other pilgrims passing on their way to the celestial city, they were ready to help the servants of the wicked prince in persuading the traveler to give up on their journey.
Take any notice. Perhaps they will just speak to us.
Look where we've come from, and who gave you that armor and coat? Why don't you look at the shops? Boys like you don't want swords and shields. You should sell them and buy some real things.
We do not wish for any of your things. We are going to the celestial city.
What is the meaning of this? Our prince does not allow children to quarrel in his streets.
We're not quarreling. We're just walking along quietly.
Nonsense! Look at this crowd and the disturbance you're making. You must come with me.
We're not disturbing anyone. We're the king's servants. We only wish to pass through the city.
I know nothing of your king. All I see is that you're troublesome and quarrelsome boys, and you must come to the governor at once.
Disrupted our city, but must be punished. Lock them up in the iron cage so that the children of the town may see what fun the good king gets them.
Evangelists said they would hurt us, but if we do die, we shall go straight to the celestial city. I shall think of the king.
Then Christian determined he would be brave too. The little pilgrims had chains fastened upon their hands and feet, and then the man who had charge of them put them into the cage and left them there. They could not stand upright, for they were ill and weak with pain. They sat down together upon the ground, and each tried to comfort the other, reminding him of the king's promises.
We knew they would be cruel to us, but it is for the king's sake.
Who's going to help you now?
What good is your armor? Where's your good king? Nowhere.
Is it fun in there?
Faithful pleaded with the governor. Christian wondered how Faithful had become so brave. His face was pale, but he did not seem to be frightened. Christian knew afterward that the king had given his friend the strength to speak out.
You know that Christians say for about the wicked boys, but faithful is worse, because he is not afraid to speak against our friends. Christian can stay in prison, but faithful shall go punished.
Pilgrim, you know. I passed by the cross and everything. Sometimes Vanity Fair is fun, but I haven't been happy there for a while now. And when I saw what they did to Faithful, I knew it was time to go. You don't mind me coming, do you?
Not if you really love the king. I thought I was going to have to go on the rest of the journey alone, so I am glad you are coming with me.
The little pilgrims rested by the way of the king until morning. When the sun rose, a messenger came to them from the king. She told them that they were staying in the Valley of Peace, and they were to rest there for a few days until Christian grew strong again. Then the children rested for a week and regained their strength. After they left the Valley of Peace, they came to a place where a stile led into a broad green meadow. It was called Bypath Meadow, and it belonged to a cruel and powerful giant named Despair. He was one of the most famous soldiers in the Wicked Prince's army, and he lived in a strong castle beyond the meadow, which could not be seen from the way of the king. This was all written in Christian's book, but he did not think to look at it at the time. The pilgrims were both feeling very tired. They had found the path leading from the river rough and stony, and their feet were sore and aching. Christian stopped when he saw the stile and leaned over it. A fence divided the meadow from the way of the king, but a smooth, grassy path ran close to it.
Could we not walk along this path for a while? These stones are so hard and my feet ache dreadfully.
Mine do too. But do you think it will be safe?
Oh, I bet it must be. See? The path runs close to the fence. We can hop back there and back anywhere in a minute.
I don't know, but I'm sure you know more about the king than I do.
The two walked for quite some time, enjoying the break from the sharp stones, when all of a sudden they heard a scream.
Oh no! I'm sure we are not on the right path!
Just then, it began to storm. Torrents of rain came pouring down, and lightning darted across the sky. They found themselves at the edge of a small cliff, where a young boy named Vain Confidence had fallen to his demise.
Oh, Hopeful, I am so sorry. This is all my fault. You would have never have come if I had not persuaded you to.
I might have. Don't cry, Christian. It was my fault too.
Then let us turn back. Perhaps we can find our way.
The storm raged all around them. They could scarcely keep their footing. After several hours of trying, the two crouched down together in a little sheltered corner close to the fence and waited for daylight to break. But they were both worn out with fright and weariness, and before the morning came, they fell asleep.
have the right to stay in my meadow. If you stay in my meadow, I shall take you to my castle.
The giant brought the pilgrims to his house, which was called Doubting Castle, and put them into a dark dungeon, locking the door behind him. All day and night, they lay there upon the bare ground without either food or water, and not even able to see each other.
Oh, what shall we do?
The giant may forget to lock the door, and we can slip out before he comes back. Let's wait a little longer, and the good king may show us a way to escape.
You're right. He will hear us, although we cannot see him. I am beginning to feel as we should escape after all.
The king did in fact hear them, and he sent one of his shining ones to tell them what to do. They did not see the angel, but a thought came suddenly into Christian's mind, and that thought was really the whisper of the king's bright messenger.
Oh, how stupid I have been! We have stayed in here all these days when we could have gotten out at once. Discretion gave me a little key, and I believe it will open every one of the giant's locks.
Let's try it. It must still be night, and no doubt Despair is asleep. Oh, do hurry! I hear him coming!
I am trying, but the lock is rusty. Oh wait, it's moving!
Look, Christian, what beautiful hills those are, and the way of the king leads over them.
Oh, I believe those are called the Delectable Mountains. Many shepherds live there who are kind of pilgrims. Perhaps they will give us some food and a place to rest.
Very soon, the children came close to the mountains and began to climb the pathway that led across them. It was not steep and rugged like that of the Hill of Difficulty. It was smooth and easy, and the slopes on each side of it were planted with vines. Little streams of pure water sparkled in the grass, and trees laden with fruit grew here and there, with spreading boughs that hung over the way of the king, and it screened the pilgrims from the heat of the sun.
Are these the Delectable Mountains?
Yes, this country is called Emmanuel's land. It belongs to the prince, and it is in sight of the king's city. These sheep are his, and we live upon the mountains to care for them. Is it very far to the celestial city? And is the way safe?
It is safe for those who love the king, but pilgrims who do not serve him faithfully often fall into danger.
Is there a place we can rest? We are both so tired.
Oh yes, the king has commanded to do all we can for his servants who pass over the mountains. Come, and we will take care of you. Here is a map. Upon it are marked all the places you will have to pass. If you look at it carefully, you will not lose your way.
The pilgrims said their goodbyes and thanked the shepherds for their kindness. They made their way to the foot of the mountain. A lane led into the way of the king from a nearby country called Conceit, and a young girl was running along toward Christian and Hopeful.
Where do you come from?
Hey! Country beyond the hills. I'm going to the celestial city. But do you think they will let you in? Why not? They let everyone else in.
Not everybody. everybody. We have our roles to show. Did the king send you one?
No, but I don't suppose that will matter. I'm his servant, for I always do what he bids me. I have heard that he wishes people to leave their own lands and travel to his city, so I'm going, just as you are.
But every pilgrim ought to pass through the wicket gate and go by the cross.
I don't see why you are making such a fuss. I am on the same path as you are, aren't I? And the wicket gate is much too far for people in my country. Should we wait for her?
I think not.
They came a little later in the day to that part of the plain that was called the Enchanted Ground. It was a very pleasant place, so sheltered by the hills that the air was always soft and warm. The streams flowed gently along, the breeze scarcely stirred the leaves of the trees, and everything around seemed quite happy. But the meadows on either side of the Way of the King were not fenced in like those in the beautiful Valley of Peace. Therefore, it was not safe for the pilgrims to lie down and rest in them. The servants of the wicked prince were often hidden among the rocks and the bushes, and when travelers were foolish enough to sleep there, they were almost sure to be robbed, if not carried away altogether.
Oh dear, my eyes keep shutting every minute. Do let us sit down and rest for a while.
No, not here. Hopeful, you are forgetting. This is the Enchanted Ground.
Well, there's no one to hurt us. I will only stay a minute, Christian. Don't wait for me.
Do you not remember what the shepherds told us?
You're right. What should I have done without you?
We are lucky that we are here together. Let's talk about something interesting. You never told us how it was like that you became a pilgrim.
The two talked along their way for quite some time, until they remembered Ignorance and wondered how she was getting along. They looked back to see that she was not too far back.
She is only a little way behind us. Shall we wait for her?
Perhaps that would be better. That way, if she feels sleepy, we could keep her awake. It is a pity for you to be behind. Won't you walk with us?
I don't care. I would just as soon walk by myself. I have so much to think about. What is it that you think of? The king and the celestial city.
But thinking is not enough. You have to be very anxious to see the king in a city.
I am. Then why don't you walk faster? I am walking fast enough. I am sure I shall reach the city someday, and why not take the journey comfortably?
But perhaps you are so careless about this, you may fall into trouble or danger.
Well, if I do, the king will help me. The king has already offered you help, and you did not receive it.
You did not pass by the cross, and I'm afraid if you do not have a robe and a pilgrim's white dress, the king's servant will not let you enter the city.
I am sure you are quite wrong. I have heard that the prince will send a white robe to every pilgrim, and no doubt he will send me mine soon.
Oh, did he send you a message?
A message? No, of course not. I should never expect a great king to send a message to a girl like me.
I do not know what to say to her. I am sure she is wrong, but she will not listen to us.
I can't really keep up with you. You will have to walk by yourself. Are you traveling to the celestial city?
Yes.
The two friends recounted their journey to the Shining Ones all the way from the beginning of their pilgrimage. Christian told of all his difficulties and dangers, and Hopeful explained how she had wasted her time in Vanity Fair.
We have often behaved badly, but we do love the king with all of our hearts.
He knows that you do, and he has forgiven you for the sake of his dear son. He has sent us now to tell you that he wishes for you to enter into his city. Will you come with us? We will go a little way with you, and then we will meet you at the city gate. river, but you must not be afraid. The city is on the other side, and you will very soon be safe within its gates.
We need not be frightened, Christian.
We are so very near to the city.
It is deep. We shall drown if we try to cross it.
No, we'll not find it too deep. You must not look at the water. You must lift your eyes to the light, and the king will help you. Trust in the king and remember all that he has done for you.
Come, Christian. This is our very last trouble, and it will soon be over. Let us go together, and I'm sure the king will take care of us.
It is time for you to pass over the river. I have brought my boat for you. Yes. The water is not very deep in some places, and many pilgrims try and pass over it. But there is no need for this, for I am always ready to take them over in my boat.
The man, whose name was Vain Hope, quickly rowed Ignorance across the rough water to the shores of the city's gates.
What do I do now?
Go up that path. It is smooth and easy. If the Shining Ones had met you, they would have taken you up another path, which is hard and difficult to climb. Go up that path and knock on the gate, and you'll soon find your way to the king's city.
Blessed are they who do his commands.
Well, I have obeyed the king always. Where do you come from and why are you knocking at the king's gate? I am a pilgrim. I have just passed through the river, and I wish to live in the celestial city. I will take your roll and carry it to my master. I'm afraid you have come without one.
The Shining Ones bound the hands and feet of the foolish girl and carried her away from the celestial city into the country of the wicked prince. Ignorance gazed back at the city, wishing she would have followed the directions of the king. She hung her head in grief. Then she was brought back to her cruel master, who took care that she should never again have a chance at escaping.
I am sinking! The water is going all over me!
No, it is only rough. Do not be so frightened. I can feel the bottom of the river and it is quite firm.
Perhaps you will make it, but not me. I shall never see the king.
You will live with him. Look up, Christian, and don't think about the water. We can see everything quite clearly now. The city is full of light, and the Shining Ones are waiting for us at the gate.
They are waiting for you, not for me.
Open his eyes, good king.
I can see it now. It shines like the sun, and I heard the voice of the prince. He said, I will be with you in the waters.
Then I'm sure we need not be frightened. Take my hand. The prince never breaks his promises.
So little Christian's courage came back to him, and he did not faint or tremble anymore. Hand in hand, the little pilgrims made their way across the dark river, and after a time, its bed seemed to grow firmer, and its waters were less rough. Then they saw the Shining Ones, who were waiting, ready to receive them. In a few moments, the dreadful passage was over. Gentle hands drew them out of the water, and they stood safely upon the shore.
Shall we be at the city now?
Yes, you'll see the king's beauty, and he will receive you as his own child.
Will he really let us live in his city? Always?
Yes, and you'll never be tired or sad anymore. You'll have to do work for the king, but it will be easy and pleasant, and you'll enjoy doing it. You'll not need your armor anymore. There'll be no more battles to fight.
The two pilgrims were met with a band of the king's servants who had been watching at the gate.
These are two of the king's little pilgrims, and we're bringing them home to the celestial city. Yay!
Oh, Faithful, how I missed you!
Hopeful, I knew you would come. I'm so glad to see you both. Are you ready to meet the king?
Yes!
The little pilgrims had now reached the threshold of the palace, and as the doors were thrown open, they heard a sound of the very sweetest music. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. The prince himself was waiting to receive them, and he smiled upon them and took their hands in his own. Then he led them into the palace, and the whole city was filled with joy because their pilgrimage was over and they had been brought safely through the dark river into the presence of the king, where they would remain forevermore.
Tonight. This really, as most of you have got lines for this couldn't happen, as most of you probably know, without many, many helpers. If you look at your program, I can't mention all of them by name tonight, but there's a whole list of people that are worth mentioning. You know, people from our church body, that maybe don't even want to be mentioned. Well, we wrote them in the program, and I hope that you will take a look, and if you know them, go up to them and thank them. Thank them for serving in this way, serving our kids, and we're just so thankful. But there are 3 people in particular that I want to thank tonight. 3 people who really kind of took the bulk of the work, but also were like leaders in that. They did above and beyond. And they were over other people and guiding them and leading them in that way. So the first person I want to acknowledge tonight is Mr. Jordan Gladden. He's back by the sound. You need to come up, Jordan. Everybody give him a big round of applause. All the way up here. Okay, so I'm going to embarrass you now. So I just need to tell you about this guy. It's not just about this play, but Jordan is an amazing guy for our church body, and my husband is behind this conversation because he told me, you really gotta mention Jordan. He does so much. Those who are in here who know him, am I right? He serves, just like a few weeks ago, my husband was out of town, and I left the lights on in my car in Meyer parking lot with a bunch of my kids, and it was dead. And so I called my husband, he was out of town, and he was like, well, I'll call Jordan. And so Jordan, he came, he was on his lunch break, and he started my car. And unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say, at rehearsal this week, I left the lights on again. Thankfully, he was right here. He was right here serving, and so I just said, Jordan, we gotta do it again. So, but he does so much. This is just a small token of our thanks. And honestly, he did like light, sound, with many people helping him, but it's not like he has amazing equipment to work with. So everybody give him a big round of applause. Thank you, thank you. The next person I want to acknowledge tonight is Jeanette McNichol. Where are you? Where are you? You have to come up. Where are you? Come on up. I know, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do it, Jeanette. She doesn't, I know. You need to come up. Come on. Jeanette is just another amazing woman, and honestly, it's a personal honor to talk about this. When we first moved here, someone showed up at my door and started teaching me about gardening and how to make my flower bed look good. She is an artist. She did all of the painting. She did, look at these costumes. I mean, I still have the line but that came from her house because she made them from scratch. They were so cute. The sheep, all the clothing, a little plug for her. She does make wedding dresses and everything, so contact her. But Jeanette, you are a blessing to our church body. And kids, didn't she do a great job? Aren't we thankful? So, we love you. Thank you. This is just a little token. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And last, but definitely not least, Kristen Bruss needs to come on up here. Okay? So, ooh, the mic got loud. You're a dear friend of mine. God has gifted you in so many ways. One of the things that I want to mention is your eye for beauty. And that's actually a gift from God, because any beauty that we see in the world is from God, our Creator. And she has a vision. She had a vision for doing this, and boy, she made it happen, didn't she? So she has done so much work for this. Really, nothing could say thank you enough, but hopefully this will be something. We love you. We're thankful. I didn't want to leave you with just mentioning other people, other humans, because if you talk to everybody up here, they would acknowledge that tonight was not really about anyone up here on stage. Tonight was about that great prince that John Bunyan wrote about 400 years ago in jail. Tonight is about that great prince, Jesus Christ, who died on that cross of Calvary for your sins and my sins. And he did that because he loves you and because he's the only one who could. God's perfect son who took our burden. You saw that burden that Christian was carrying? Good job, buddy. You did a great job. He was carrying that burden. Every single one of us, if we're honest, we have a burden on our back. We have a burden of our failures, our mistakes, what the Bible calls our sins. And that burden will get us nowhere. And we try to be good people, you know? And we can't do it. There's only one place. It's at the foot of the cross of that man, Jesus Christ. And I want to encourage you, if anyone has never let that burden fall by humbling yourself before the cross of Jesus Christ, tonight is the night. You might have come through those doors with a burden. You can leave tonight without it. And we've provided kind of a place for you to do that, okay? I'm not going to embarrass anybody, bring them up front, but I'm going to show you and direct you. So see, there's little twinkle lights over there. The house lights are going to go on. But in your own, in the privacy of your own heart, you can go over there. There's a few different tables, and let me just explain it, and then with that I'll close. The first section is actually one, if you want to talk to someone, if you want to be face-to-face and be prayed for by a friend of Kishwaukee Bible Church who can bring you to the cross so that you don't have to do it alone. There's some chairs over there, and there's little instructions so you'll know where to go. You can go and sit down, and someone will find you, and they'll pray with you and bring you to the cross. Next to it is another place for like writing on a rock some of your burdens. And you can kind of do that just in the privacy of your own experience. And then beyond that, there's a place to write down your burdens and put them in a box. And someone from Kishwaukee Bible Church will look at it and pray for you, really pray for you. And you can do that anonymously, or you can write down your name and contact, and they will get to you at another time, okay? Don't leave here tonight without casting your burden on that cross of Jesus Christ. I'm going to pray, and then we're just going to give these kids one more round of applause, okay? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you that we have a good story to tell. Boy, we look out at our world, and there's a lot of bad stories being played out. But God, you are the author of the good ending, and I pray that every person in here would leave knowing that they're headed towards that good ending because their burden has fallen at the foot of the cross of your Son. Thank you for these kids. Thank you for the fun we had. I pray that we would enjoy these refreshments and that you would just bless our conversation and may be glorifying to you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, let's give these kids one more round of applause. Thanks everybody. You can enjoy refreshments. Stay as long as you like.